Good
Hello.
afternoon to you.
Hello.
Caroline, what did you have in mind when you started making this production?
Well, the production was like many of these shows that we've done in the past. Connects together Portugal and England. And on this occasion, it happened to be King Manuel II, who was the exiled king of Portugal, in 1910, when I'm afraid he was thrown out of Portugal. He ended up in London, and it was whilst he was in London that he had a rather tempestuous affair with a French lady who was an entertainer and an actress. And his relatives, who were English, the English king and queen, happened to support him until they found out about his tempestuous affair. So there was quite a lot of colour to write about in this, and we always like to have a little bit of sauciness and colour in our plays.
There are a lot of other things happening at that time, of course, with World War I, etc.
Well, it was a couple of years, or I should say 4 years before World War I occurred. You were moving at that point from the Victorian era into the Edwardian era. Things were getting a little more exciting in terms of people's fashions. You had the suffragettes, who are included in our story, and it was a period where there was anxiety, perhaps, that there was another world war on the way, but it was something that people enjoyed themselves whilst they could.
And Harry Selfridge, of course, he's a colourful character. What influence did he have on the British? Was it his extravagant lifestyle?
Well, he'd come from Chicago, where he'd worked in Macy's store. It was a very sophisticated store, particularly compared to anything that was going on in London in shops at that time. And he introduced many things that the British public had never seen before. Things like a fashion show, cosmetics for sale, various demonstrations of certain electrical items that you couldn't buy elsewhere in England. He was first to introduce a toilet in the store, a toilet for ladies in the store, which was extremely popular and did bring a lot of people to go out shopping, because they knew they would get caught short. There was always the lavatory available. So it was that sort of difference between what American shopping was like and the very naive sort of shopping that had previously gone on in England.
And Harry Selfridge himself as a character?
He was a married man who did conduct quite a number of affairs, particularly after his own wife died, but throughout his life he was very attracted to people like Anna Pavlova, the ballerina, Isadora Duncan, contemporary dancer, and later on to King Manuel's French girlfriend, who we mentioned previously.
Okay, about the organising of the play, about getting all the actors together. At one stage I counted 11 of them. How difficult is them to get them together at the same time, to check their agendas and to check they learn their lines?
Well, the truth is that making a timetable is far more time-taking than writing the play. It really is. And I can only say that that's the part that I rather dread doing. And then you get everyone agreeing to do certain dates when they can rehearse, then someone's not well, or someone unexpectedly has to go to visit a relative, go to another country. That is very complicated. And apart from the 11 actors, we also have backstage people to consider. So, I mean, in all, there are really about 15 people, and trying to get everyone together at the same time is pretty difficult. Though, of course, sometimes we rehearse and the scene might only have 6 people in it. Then that's not so difficult to get 6 people together. But, you know, on the whole, I would say that for me is the most tedious part.
Now, Barbara, the person who's in charge of the decor, you've done ornaments like church windows and baptismal fonts. What do you have to think about when you're building all these?
Well, the period of the play, I have to do a lot of research, which is basically through images online, so I can see, you know, I normally put in a date, a year, and then I find these things and then find the simplest one to make. It is complicated. In this last play, we had no backdrop or scenery. It was strictly props and tables that belonged to the venue.
So you didn't have so much work?
No, not for stage setting. No, not at all.
But you also do a lot with costumes. I know there were...
Oh yes, it's a matter of beg, borrow, steal. First, what we do is ask everybody to check their own wardrobes to see if they have any item of clothing that might work to put something together. Then we go to a couple of other theatre groups that we have borrowed costumes from, which has been very, very, very helpful. And then it's a matter of, can you spend the money to buy some items?
Yes, you bought some for the last play.
I did. I bought my costume. I bought most of that. I bought some pieces for others.
And you made some fantastic hats.
And
as
I
well.
made some hats, which I really enjoyed doing.
Yes.
Yes, some people said I should become a milliner.
Okay. Well, perhaps that can be incorporated in another play. You never know.
But it is a lot of research on, you know, photographs and then taking ideas from that, putting things together. Like in the play before this last one, I had to do the Bon Success of Boat, which is docked in Orleans.
And you still have that docked in your backyard or something?
Well, it was docked in my backyard, but with all the rains, it's finished. It's done with, bits and pieces. But it was fun to do. It was fun to do, but you have to rack your brain to see how you're going to do it. And again, if it's going to fit in your car. There's all those things to consider.
It seems there's a lot of background information which has to be obtained from both of you. But I remember that you definitely are very concerned that it should be based on fact, Caroline. That is one of your points.
That is one of my points. I feel that for the audience, I quite like them to go away having learnt something. And most of the audience are expats who need to learn a few things about the country that they're either living in or, in the case of tourists, visiting. And so they're going away with an impression that is a bit more than just making up a story that's totally fictitious.
And of course, you get very good audiences that are also very generous, because I remember that most of the contributions go towards charity.
But that is what happens. I mean, a certain amount of the money has to, the ticket sale, should I say, has to go to either the venue or the people who are providing drinks or food, because sometimes we do it as a theatre dinner. But always a percentage goes to the charity, and always we put on people's chairs an envelope that they can put money in. It's a sealed envelope, and then that is given to the charity. So over the years we've supported 3 different charities, and we must have raised over about 7, maybe 8 different shows. We must have raised somewhere in the region of 4,000 euros, maybe a bit more, over several shows.
Yes, that's very good. Okay. And the last question, really, what about another play?
Well, I certainly have an idea for another play. But we're back on the subject of getting everyone together. I know for a fact that 2 of our normal cast cannot do anything for the next 8 months because they're tied up with other commitments. So all of that needs taking into account. But there's no reason why I couldn't write another play, but there is a reason why I'm reluctant to have to try and get everyone all together again.
But there's a number of us who would love to be involved again.
Okay, so the enthusiasm's there.
Oh, absolutely.
And the practicalities.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe after those 8 months.
Yeah, maybe after those 8 months. I mean, there's no doubt about that. That I love doing it. I really like the writing part of it. In fact, the writing part of it is my favourite part. The directing, the rehearsing, all of that involves so many different elements. But when I'm writing it, I'm just quietly at home at the computer, having a wonderful imaginative time.
Okay. Well, thank you both of you for your time, and we'll just have to wait and see what you take.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest.